guys, welcome back to the channel, right here, 1974 Beetle, and yes, it's been on the channel a couple times before. We have new issues. Nothing that we've worked on, which is a good thing. Starter is going to have to be replaced. Didn't actually come in here for that. It was more or less the, hey, every now and then my car doesn't want to start, and if I rock it, it will work. So I thought maybe just, put in a bump button, the ignition switch kind of thing. Until I went to go try to start it on my own, after the owner left, of course, is kind of when it happens. It's actually funny because usually when people drop off cars with a problem, it's a good chance I never experienced the problem, so I'm diagnosing blind. But this time I did, went to go start the car, hit the key, and got the click. If you know what I'm talking about, or the sound, turn the key and you get the clunk, and nothing happens. So, cycled the key a couple times and fired up. But yeah, the solenoid's going out. The motor still sounds good when it actually engages, but yeah, either the armature or the Bendix, what have you, it's not working, or the solenoid, it's just not working as it should. So definitely replacing the starter. Good news. I'm not going to put in a button, but I am going to put a cold start relay into the car. It just lessens the load. I mean, you got a lot of wire and a lot of resistance going from that key switch to the engine. So lessen the load. She's older. We'll give her a little break. Main complaint is the stupid brake light switch on the dash is lighting up every now and then. Customer says it stays on, but when he was coming here, it went off, but then came back on. It's probably on now. So we have two issues with that. One, it's either going to be the stupid e-brake sensor, screwing up, or it's one of the wheel switches. He did say, I haven't verified it yet, that it looks like one of the wheel switches are leaking. I did replace one of them a while ago. And if it's leaking, obviously getting replaced, but if there's not leaking, I'm honestly probably just going to see if it's the e-brake. If it's the e-brake, we're just pulling the bulb. Because the way that light works, it should kick, if it is the wheel switches, one of them screwed up, but the brake lights aren't staying on and they're functional. But the reason that light's lighting up is it's a differential pressure that kicks it on, supposedly, with magic and voodoo. So, if all the brakes are working, I don't know. If it's leaking, obviously, like I said, I'm going to replace it. But I'm just not going to throw two sensors at it if it doesn't seem like it's a sensor issue, if that makes any sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Because, number one, if I change them out and they look good, and it doesn't fix the problem, I still, unfortunately, have to charge you for it. Very few times do I do that, but in this case, I would have to charge you for a part swap that didn't fix. What else? Yeah, I guess we'll do the starter first. I'm just kind of going to try to think. Join it back, we'll do the starter. I already wired up the cold start relay. I think I have to modify the D-bolt. For the starters I run, they're a little smaller. I think they come off of like a Golf, a Mark 1. I think that's the starter I run. They're cheaper. But yeah, drive me back. I'll go over more when we get back there. All right, guys, I did do a little probing on the front end. It's not the switches. It's probably in the e-brake circuit. But I did notice I'm missing a wrench. Great. I did notice the outer tie rod driver side's not healthy. But I'll cross that dilemma when I get to it. I actually think I have tie rods. I do. I was doing a disc brake conversion and ended up not using them. Because I already converted them. Alrighty. Really long 17 for this, the D-bolt in the back. It'll make your life easier. Yeah, like I said, the starters I run, they're smaller starters. Same tooth pattern, all that stuff, engagement, throw, and all that. It's just, well, it's a cheaper starter, has a little bit more torques to it. I know everyone likes to run the auto stick starter because they're self-supporting. And, well, honestly, I think these are like 20 bucks cheaper. Don't quote me what the hell they're off of, because I honestly don't know. I ordered one by mistake for, well, I ordered one for a car, and I think it was like a, I don't even know, I think it was for a Porsche. And it worked. Because I was looking at it, I was like, hey, this looks like the same thing that would work on a Beetle. This is why you use the long extension, and then you hope the threads are clean enough to get your fat hand under here. You gotta, if you don't know, face gestures make your life a lot easier. Bolt, washer, arm stuck. Arm unstuck. All right, let's go under. Nut washer, whatever. Terms are used interchangeably for no apparent reason. Going up. Actually, I just looked at the wheel. They have, I'm hoping the keys in the car for the nuts, for the lug nuts. Because I'm going to need to get the wheel off. Yes. Needed this. All right, now let's go up. How's that for? Not sure. Join me in a second. All right, guys, starter. Now, I am working this hot. I don't recommend it, but because, well, I don't like opening up back seats, we're working it hot. Mainly, I don't feel like getting to the battery. Starter, simple enough. That is now a smaller bolt. Okay. What would interchange be? About a 15? It does have a new, well, I'd say a newer starter on. Looks 15. Looks, holy crap. Looks about the size that I run. I have just, oh, damn it. Just not the same starter that I run. It's really small. So I'm curious on, I'm actually curious on how that D-bolt is. because typically if you use the smaller starters, you have to modify them so that they engage. Like I said, I'm like, ow, every time. And like I said, I did not put this starter on the car. So, I don't know. Like I said, it still works. It's just not, it's not reliable. I think I say in almost all my videos, I like reliability. I like cars to be driven. I don't like you to have a fear, or anyone to have a fear that their car is going to leave them stranded. And that's the reason they don't drive it, because, you know, stories of old cars being terrible and unreliable. A washer. Yeah, that should be a 17. It is. It is not. Put you in there so I can immediately lose you. Now, for the fun part, working this hot, do not touch the wrench on any metal, because if you do, you get the effect. Which, I say this, and I'm probably going to do it like 3 times. Which is fine. Oh, that is very tight. Yeah, just remember that your lug, your 13 millimeter lug is hot, so if you touch metal, you might not have a good day. The other thing is, if you're nice and sweaty like I am, because fat, you can feel the electricity pulsating through your body every time you touch something metal, because you are an amazing conductor. I am terrible at doing this. Typically, I like to break the nuts loose with a wrench and then hit it with power. Same thing, running them on. I like to run them on by hand or run them on with power. It's not really that snug. Reason being is, say, if I was to be reusing the starter, like taking off for some other reason, and I try to break it with the electric, you stand a good chance that, yeah, this wire is hot. Don't let it touch anything metal. Rest it on the CV boot. What I was saying is, I don't know. Oh yeah, you stand a good chance at ow, jeez. If you use it to break the nut and say you're going to reuse the starter for some reason, you got to take it off for diagnostic or what have you. You stand a good chance on that initial whack to break the nut loose of get out, breaking the solenoid bolt. Oh no, oh shit. It's VW. It's a really, really, really small VW. Here, I'll bring you out. Well, it can be used as VW. Typically, these small starters, they don't have a provision for the D-bolt. And this one actually does. Or a normal, you know, hex bolt. Because what happens is these like to spin. But this one's out. And the one I put in, that is, yeah, like I said, it's smaller than what I run. But mine is smaller than a factory. The solenoid is just about the same size as the motor. So, mine does put out a little more torque. Like I said, I think it goes to like a Gold for a Porsche. But yeah, the D-bolt on these, you're not going to be able to tighten it. Typically what I do is just weld like a little washer on here. so that when it does rotate around, she'll lock. So let me do that real quick and I'll be right back. Alrighty. Nut. I used a nut. I said washer nut. When you weld them on, if you do this, make sure your nut is below this, the equator of this. You don't want it proud of this, otherwise you're digging into your transmission. But with that said, also make sure you put your nut, your washer, whatever, opposite the flat if you're using these starters. So now it can slide in, and then when you go to rotate, click, it'll lock. Doesn't have to be much, just has to work. Like I said, you need the D-bolt because it won't fit out unless you use it. So let's get this installed now. As always, installation is the same as uninstallation. Like I said, I'll go back and put in the put on the cold start relay. I always like doing them second just because I'm never 100%. I know where I put them. I'm just never 100% confident when I go to put them in. That probably makes no sense. I like to, make sure my orientation is correct. Hello. There we go. Make sure it debolts up. Oh, nut. Thank you. Pull the 12-volt nut off. I want to put this 12-volt supply on as fast as possible, so I know it's at least only touching what it should be touching. And yeah, like I said, I pre-wired this. I say this in all my videos. At least with this, was it 85 and 86 is your ground. That's your supply, so that'd plug into what would originally plug into your starter relay. That goes on your starter, 12-volt positive, but still not connected, and that's your new turn on. It just doesn't take as much, basically, current load or amperage to trigger a relay. Is the main reason I run these things. So top volt, are we doing top volt? We'll do top volt. Some cars like it on the top, some cars like it on the bottom. Kind of the reason I wait. I think my gear, it's on the bottom. But yeah, just all I do is I take out one of these bolts that hold the motor to the housing. Really, really simple. Pull this out. Take your sweat in the eye. Take your ground, put it through said bolt. Put that through there, put it back on the starter, because, well, the starter better be grounded. It's electrical for it to work. Put bolt back in. Start it by hand because, well, if you screw this part up, you're literally kind of screwed. Hello. There we go. Might take a second to find the threads on the other end because it's not like it's in a shaft, it's just kind of floating there. But when you do, you'll have good success. Other thing is when I run these relays, you could use whatever. I mean, really, you can use whatever you want to do this. But me personally, I use the weather pack ones, so they're waterproof. You really don't want, electrical and water don't really get along. They've never been friends. And water's tried many, many times. But, I don't know. Electric's being rude about it. It's like a bad relationship. Same thing with oil and water. I don't know who's tried more. Oil to get along with water or water to get along with oil. But I know electrical's really never reached out to try to work with water. Also, if you're picking up what I'm throwing down with this conversation, good, because I have no idea what the hell I'm saying. The only reason I am not crazy is because I do YouTube. So I have a pass on talking to myself. You guys are close to me. I know you can't. I'll bring in to show you what the hell I have going on after. Again, really hard to film in some areas on these cars. And by some, I mean practically everyone you can think of. All right, that's on. Next, get a little more light up in here because, well, now I need to see. Trigger, which is the blue on my relays, goes on to the starter motor. Well, it connects where the spade terminal connects. Clunk, the big red 12 volt, which is our power supply wire. That goes on. Washer nut, or washer, lock washer, nut. Like I said earlier, just slowly run this in and then finish it up with a wrench because you don't want to break that terminal. Once it stops, you're done. I know you want a reef on it, but it is not the time nor a said place. Where's a long wrench? Give me a little more angle and dangle to electrocute myself. Or not. Damn it. Let's just get it. By that noise, you know it's working. What did I short? I don't know what I hit to short it out. All right, that's snug. That was weird. But you know, the starter works. Yeah, typically when they do that, I jump 2 terminals, but I don't know what 2 terminals I would have jumped with a socket. I don't know. Weird things have happened, my guys and girls, for like the negative 2.3% that watch this channel. Come on. But that just proves my point. The starter is grounded. of 15. Let's tighten this bottom. The only bad thing about this starter is you kind of have to use a wrench down here just due to the notch out. And again, there's nothing wrong with the starter. It's just the incorrect starter for the correct application. Snug. All right, make sure that D-bolt is pushed in, but let me show you what I got going on. As promised, like I said, I've shown this on a lot of videos. My gi is actually probably easier to see under there, but whoop, starter installed, cold start relay in the shadows. Cold start relay just off there, the ground goes on. Blue is your trigger wire. Red wire goes to your host because that's supplying 12 volt all the time. White, we just have to connect to the old trigger wire, which is, where the hell did it go? How the hell did I lose it? Huh. I unplugged the damn thing. It's hidden on top of the transmission. And like I said, I'm filling reverse rhodesian, and this wire, trigger wire, gets plugged into there, and then that will work the circuit. And technically, or maybe I could have touched the white. If I touched the white wire somehow, or that's probably what I did with the ratchet. If you energize that white wire, send 12 volts to it, that ratchet probably touched that white wire and triggered the starter. That's the only way I could have jumped the relay. Because yeah, if I go 12 volt hot, it'll crank it. It's like, it was me. I will take that one. But anyway, these wires just get connected. And all I'm going to do on them is throw some electrical tape to just cover that connection. It's nothing major. You just don't want it to obviously get wet or unplugged. It's an exposed connection anyway, so I mean, it really doesn't matter, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't like floppy wires that are exposed. And hopefully you guys don't like floppy wires that are exposed either. There are some of the best electrical tape Harbor Freight has to offer on here, and we'll call it good under here. Also, if you're ever in a bind and you need to know how to crank your car over because your key's not working, just do what I just did. Like I said, the electrical tape on this isn't so much for like preventing water or anything like that. It's more or less for the aspect of not just put a zip tie on that wire. It's for the aspect of, I don't like it flopping, because with my luck, it's gonna fall, like fall down, touch something metal, which it shouldn't because there's nothing really metal around it, and arc out. And you have more problems. I'll just support off the 12-volt lug. It's fine. All right, let's go up. And car has to come down some. I got to push that D bolt in. But go up, we'll tighten that last bolt, and starter will be on. Should work fine. Like I said, I know these, I know putting in these relays, it's been done forever. I'm not the first one to do it. It's more or less the, I don't know. Yeah, you get both sides of the aisle, basically saying put a cold start relay in, it helps with starting, yada yada. I do it because I feel it does. And I know it lessens the electrical load. Then you get the other people saying, "Oh, it's just gonna fail." You just put another point of failure in the car. It's a car. They're not designed to fail, but they do. All right, well, I'm going to do something dumb. I like to use my flashlight to put on top of the starter or the body just somewhere because it's bendy, and use the front of it to hold that D-bolt in place so it doesn't slide back on me. This isn't the flashlight I typically use, so I have my cheaper ones that are smaller. Yeah, because nothing's worse than trying to get a thread and this thing pushing out. Or I might have to do that because I am not really having luck holding it. All right, whatever. Oh, and I think I said earlier, if you make that bolt proud, it's going to dig into transmission. Misspoke, it'll dig into the starter. You want a flush fit. That D-bolt, because it's pocketed, I'm hoping it doesn't back out too far. I lost the flashlight already. It's over there, but it's dying. I have another one. That's probably also dying. Nope, she's full. One at a time. One at a time, my boy. One at a time. Get the washer on. I'm trying not to test my theory of that bolt's going to go back. We're not going to go back that far. All right. Washer on. Reboot my sound. Carbon gears, so much easier because you can literally see everything. I don't know if that sound picked up or the dejection in my face, but I dropped a nut. So I gotta go fishing. Good thing is, they really can't go far. Bad thing is, you can't see where they land. Got it. Let's try this again. Well, I either got the one that was in there or I found another one. Round two. Round 2, success. Perfect. Arm stuck again. All right. Wrench. Tighten this guy up. And tight. All right. Whew. I think it's my 1315 missing. Good news. Oh, yeah. It is my 1315. But anyway, these icons. Bloop. Great wrenches, double-ended, so on and so forth, switchable with the standoff. The standoff makes your life a lot easier. They're the exact same as my Cornwell. I had this thing for years. This thing's going on like a decade. At least if I lost one, I have one that I have. I don't know, random side quest talking. All right, let's see if she clicks, fires, what have you. It should. We know it rotates from the ground. Perfect. While it's running, six, I need that. Carbs are still perfect. He never came back for his 200-mile service, so just checking some things. I don't know if the belt's tight or picking up, but definitely got to tighten that. That's a little loose. All right. Yeah, and the brake light is currently on, and the e-brake is off, so who the hell knows? Thing is, brake light, if it's on constant, usually it's the e-brake circuit. Look up, please. Eyes are up here. If it's on constant, it's usually the e-brake circuit. If it's coming on when you press the pedal, that would be your differential kicking it on, if that makes sense. The car doesn't know the brakes aren't working till you hit the pedal to light the light up, but it knows if you forget to put the handbrake down. So it being solid on right now, because like I said, all the wheels are fine. They roll. It's not like it's stuck or there's residual pressure in the lines. Got a stiff spot in this one. Yeah, everything rolls, so it's not locked up. It's not like it's holding pressure in a brake. So maybe it is. Hold on. Let me back off this wheel. It shouldn't be because the other side's free. Pop those off. Went the wrong way. All right, now it rotates. Minimum drag is literally just a flick. Light's still going to be on, but like I said, stay. Might as well give it a shot because that one's free. Fronts are free. This one's really free. That's the one with the bad wheel. Yeah. All the drag feels fine. That one's just a little sticky, but like I said, it's not. That one's still spinning. That has no drag. Whilst I'm here and the wheel's on, because it's still spinning, let me adjust this one. Drift angle. All right, drag on that one now. At least stops, not freewheels. Pedal will probably be higher too. Alrighty. Let's zip off this front tire. Well, let me show you what I got going on, then we'll pull it off. I don't even really probably have to pull it off. But that's all in the oop. I don't know if you'll be able to see the wibble or the wobble. We'll get you on the other side. Because wheels turn. Zoom you in. Zoom you in. See all the play in that? The outer tie rod should not be going up and down. It should be nice and tight. The inner is good. It's just the outer. And yeah, it's dry. Yeah. I can't, for the record, pull the wheel out any further. That's all the deflection in there. So, that'll have to be fixed. Also, brake light switches, like I said, they look fine. Brake light switches look fine. I got to pull the wheel anyway because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a tie rod in. I could be preemptively thinking that. But, ooh, action angle. But I'll show you what I mean. Let me get this thing off real quick. All right, found the flashlight. I left it up top. Anyway, let's see if I get a better angle on this I don't know if it's picking up the play that I'm showing. Eyes and cameras are two different things. But there's a lot of left and right lateral movement. There you go. Boom. That should not be doing that. That's smoked. Whoop. So, yeah. And then, again, like I said, the brake light switches, they're completely fine. Bring in with this one, too. I think what he was seeing were the wires, they're a little wet and soupy. But the tray itself is dry. If they were leaking, they'd be leaking. I'll unplug one just to show you. It might be the dielectric grease on these things that's just oozing out. But yeah, they're completely dry. So I'm happy we didn't do, again, I'm not replacing them because there's nothing wrong with them. It's something in the brake. It's something in the circuit. So e-brake, like I said, usually if that light's constantly on, it's the e-brake side of the circuit. At least in my experience. I could be wrong, but I'm never wrong. I might be mistaken a time or two. Get back on there. There we go. All right, yeah. So those are fine. I'm not even going to mess with them. Got to call them on this. It's 11 o'clock at night currently because how I work. I have one, so hopefully it'll just cooperate and come out. It's just the outer. Should not have an issue, but I'm going to do the right thing and pre-soak. So that maybe I can get lucky when I go to take this thing apart. Focus, please. What is going on? Hey, whoop. Thank you. Anywho, Tyrod, we are talk to the owner. Obviously, we're gonna be doing this. Should be a fairly straightforward. Caught her out. Impact. Because luckily this should be a 19. Well, it is not. Is it loose? Or is it spinning? It's a 19. I don't know why my socket isn't wanting to fit. Well, when the collet's up, it doesn't want to fit. Anywho. Zip that off. Break the tie rod. Put that nut back on. We're not going to reuse it, but if you're going to use that style ball joint separator, I always put the nut on. Because just in case something goes wrong and you do have to reuse this, well, you didn't screw up the threads, I guess is what I'm getting at. Typically some pressure and it'll pop. That is a lot of pressure. It's coming over my thing and it's not popping. Huh. You are on there. Readjust and reassess. Yeah, I don't like really impacting these down due to the fact that I have had them explode before. right at that joint. They've come loose before on me. Get a hammer. It might pop when I walk, but if you get tension on it and shock it, they usually pop. Problem is, I need to find a hammer now. Crap. It is still moist here in Kentucky. I just feel like I point that out as I'm wandering around aimlessly. Hopefully I can just shock it. All right, more pressure, I guess. I will resort to heat. Yeah, that ball joint is wiggly. It's just not popping through. This is supposed to be the easy part. Boom. Yeah, usually you can shock them off. That was on there. So this is going to go extremely well. But yeah, that's shot. Shot with a capital letters. All right. Loosen your jam nut. Hopefully. Loosen. Jam nut, jam collar. Well, the nut to the collar. Loosen that. I already pre-soaked this, so I'm hoping it's all going to cooperate. Again, I do have my torch. So that it doesn't, I have the I'm not asking device. Nice and loose. Let me get some grips of the vise, and we'll see if we can spin this thing off. Okay, when in doubt, check the floor shelf. That's exactly where they were. Anywho, let's see how well this will cooperate. Oh, nice. Look at that. Just want to work it back and forth a little bit to get some of this lube in there. I will say this knocker loose is pretty okay stuff. Hand fatigue is real. Like I said, the inner felt fine. On the old wiggle test, that's bad. I don't know if you can tell, but the it still supports itself. It's not bad. All right. I'm going to see how well the inner cooperates so I can get an alignment on this thing. Yes, 22. Hopefully this cooperates. Tighten to loosen, loosen to tighten. It doesn't matter. Well, shit. Everything is turning. That jam that's doing F all. Good. Just the way I like it. Again, not hurting anything, but counterproductive. Ah, jeez. All right, that jam nut came loose. Loose. Just back it off enough so you get adjustment. Let me find the correct one. Oh. Because you have two options. All right, let me, like I said, I got to knock off the other wheel. I got to get my aligner set up, and I'll get this thing aligned real quick to where it, wants to be. Because I didn't really touch the inner, I'm going to do most of the adjustment on the outer and set it. Give me a second, I'll talk you through what I'm doing. All right, guys, got my plates on, the other tire's off. All I'm doing right now is running the tape measure to the other side. And all I'm going to do is, the other side's locked down and, well, as straight as it can be. All I'm going to do is make sure that these measurements match. So about 140 and about 140. Just gonna give it the old look down to make sure the wheel's straight. But if the measurements are the same, 140, 140, it should be straight. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this in to get the initial alignment. Pulling out some. She's stiff. Need a little more wiggle waggle. There we go. Get that in, get the nut on. And we'll reset it. I just wanted to get that to pretty much equilibrium before I started screwing around with it. If I can get in here without knocking everything to hell. And And then we'll set it 140 and 140. You might be a little out. The closer to straight, the better. I'm just using the rear wheel as kind of a divining rod. So I got 150 on that one, weigh in on that one, move it out. $140, 142, 142. I call that good. And just lock it down. Let me crawl up there and see what the steering wheel looks like. Hopefully it's straight. I can't remember what it was to begin with, but that's really neither here nor there. I'm just curious what it looks like currently. Oh, it's dead straight. I'm not even joking. Obviously, when you move, the car will move a bit. We'll go around backside. Yeah, steering wheel straight. So that means the wheel should be straight, I guess. You know, there's a bunch of science and wizardry that I have going on currently. All right. I'm going to lock down the front one because, well, easier. And then we'll lock down the back. I also have to put in the grease fitting. Also, you don't need a crow's foot for this. You can fit a 22 in here. The other side, a crow's foot really helps. Because they're both designed the same way. They have an actual jam nut on here, not one of those collars. There we go. Lockdown. Yeah, none of these on here have Zerks. So I'm assuming they're all original. Grab my grease gun. Boot moved, means it's greased. They do have some in there. I just like to make sure I push more in, just in case, you know, someone skimped out on the factory. And, well, reverse process, put the wheels on it, and call it a day is the plan. All right, guys. Whew. Drop this thing off the lift. See where that steering lines up. Hopefully it's straight. And call this one wrapped up. I'm not going to test drive it. There's no need. Car starts, runs. It drove here. It in other words, didn't come in for a drivability complaint. So, as much as I love to drive these things, I also don't like or love to take unnecessary risk. Roll forward. Ooh. Stop rolling back. All right. Oh, it's fine. Do the roll test. I have my fan back there. Let's not hit that. Just want to make sure these things find pretty much true. The steering cap is off for another reason. I was trying to figure out the horn, but I don't know what's up with that. It was just on the, hey, if you can figure it out list. Oh yeah. Hasn't moved. Slight. Basically, it's right where I left it. So that's good. responsive. All good. Let me put tools back, or put the socket in there, roll you back, and yeah, close this one out because she's done. I do not want to forget that. Give me a minute. Let me get this thing set up for a beautiful outro. All right, guys, closing out the hot, sweaty video on the 74 Love Bug Edition Beetle. Tie rod done. Oh, also, I did tighten the rear belt. I didn't forget to do that. I just didn't show it. I moved 4 shims out, so I think there's still 2 shims in between. Anyway, engine's good. It's still dialed as it was. The brakes, there was no issue with it. It's just a fault in the ground. I pulled the bulb. It's not going to hurt anything. Argue with me that that's the wrong repair, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with it. And rather than, I don't know, charging an exponentially high amount of dollars to try to find a ground that's not affecting anything else or shorten the circuit, I just pulled the bulb. It's not a safety issue. This thing does have other electrical gremlins that the owner did tell me about that it will come back for. And if I can diagnose that the bulb on that front, then it'll be fixed. But yeah, like the hazards don't work and other things like the blinkers or something's not working correctly. But with that said, tie rod's fixed, it's aligned. Starter's in, she starts. Actually, we didn't start it. I'm gonna be really pissed if it doesn't do a thing. Starts, well, starter cranks. Cold start. But yeah, good to go. I'll call him, tell him to pick it up, and hopefully you can enjoy it until next time it's on the channel. Like I said, there's not really a laundry list of things to do, but a laundry list of things to do that he wants finished on this thing. Glass seals, some electrical work, little odds and ends. So we'll be seeing this car again. But right now is back to being mechanically sound to where you drive it for as long as you want. It's a car. Do car things with it. But anyway, if you like this episode, however it came out, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you do, I promise you we will chit chat. As always, thanks for watching. Hopefully, see you on the next one for more fun.